You're currently witnessing the new Samyang 35-150 f2 to f2.8 on L mount right now. Gather some first impressions. Here, let me kind of move closer so you can see the autofocus working here, doing its magic. All right, let's check out some real world footage now. This is a very exciting lens to come to L mount in my opinion, and I'm very excited for more Samyang lenses to become available. In this video, I'm going to tell you my thoughts and opinions so far on the lens, maybe some problems I've encountered, some more real sample footage, and if I recommend it. Spoiler alert, I do recommend it. If you don't know me, my name's Dustin, your video tour guide, and please keep your arms and legs inside your chairs at all times. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Now, first off, disclosure. You might be thinking that this lens was sent to me. Well, it wasn't. I bought it with my own money, so this is as unbiased as it gets. Just so you know, I will have affiliate links in the description if you decide to pick up any of the gear I use and talk about in this video, and it's really helpful to support me if you use those, so thank you if you do. Let's first start off with the build and ergonomics of the lens. I feel like the pictures online don't really do it justice. I was almost kind of skeptical of the build quality just because it looks kind of funky or just like different from compared to what I'm used to. And to be fair, some of it feels kind of like plasticky, but I think that's a better route to go with this lens because it's a beast. It weighs 2.67 pounds and it's big. If you thought the Lumix 24-70mm S Pro was big, just wait until you see this lens. But I still think that the lens is well built. The zoom ring is smooth and the focus ring is also smooth. I like the clickiness of the custom buttons. The switches feel secure and I like it. It has a lock switch right here for the zoom, which I love, and an AF/MF switch. There's also 3 custom switch buttons, which I'll get into in a second, and then the 2 buttons on the lens. And guess what? The lens is weather sealed, so that's nice. Let's talk about this custom button switch. What's really cool about it is you can put a number of different settings on that button, but if you do put the focus mode or detection mode on that button, you can toggle between the modes, unlike what happens when you set these modes to a custom button on the camera. It won't toggle, it'll bring up the menu and you have to select what mode you want. That's really nice, and I don't know why Lumix cameras don't do this, or they do it seems on certain settings but not others. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't know of a way to change this and prefer this method if I set it to a custom button. So I hope Lumix changes that. Now there is other custom buttons here, but I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to set them up. So I apologize, and if I figure it out, I will put in the pinned comment or something like that on how to do that. Now moving on to the minimum focus on this lens. I think at 35mm, it's pretty good, but at 150mm, it's nothing amazing, but I'm not usually trying to get that close at 150mm anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. As far as the overall image quality, it seems to be pretty sharp across most of the f-stop range, but what I notice is when you're at an f2 at 35mm, there is a vignette, but it can be easily fixed by either stopping to f2.8 or you can turn on your vignetting compensation in camera and boom, it's pretty much gone. You could potentially just leave this lens at 2.8 and probably not encounter most of the problems at f2.0, and I honestly thought I'd do the same, but after using this lens at f2 at 35mm, it kind of just gives a totally different look, and I personally like lenses that give me options to play around with, especially when I'm in the moment. So I'll probably be using the f2 option more than I thought. I also think the bokeh, from what I can see, is very pleasing. It may not be perfect when you zoom in, but who's looking at bokeh that closely anyways. I don't know, maybe a few people are, but not me. Let's move on to the focus breathing as well. It also seems to be pretty well controlled. And speaking of focus, I'm sure one of the big questions on this lens is, how is the autofocus? Well, it gets kind of interesting. As far as for video, I went and shot that live band, and I honestly felt there was no difference between any Sigma, Leica, or even Lumix lens that I've used. Since Samyang is a part of the L-mount alliance, that means that it's using the same protocols when it comes to L-mount. So technically, this is actually not a third-party lens. It is considered first party because that is what the L-mount alliance is about. I maybe have been kind of skeptical of that over the years, but I think with this lens, yeah, any L-mount lens that is a part of the L-mount alliance is going to perform autofocus-wise basically the exact same as any of the lenses. So keep that in mind. The motor is also basically silent. Like, I had to put the lens up to my ear in order to hear it at all, which is great. However, when I was shooting the live band, I was also shooting some photos for that live band, and I encountered an issue when I was taking photos really fast in continuous autofocus. Basically, when I was taking photos, and this was just JPEGs, by the way, on the S5 IIX, it did this twice where it would say that the lens wasn't compatible with my camera, and I just had to lock and unlock the lens and it would fix it. When I tried to replicate this though at home, I couldn't. Now this could be because I have sample cameras from Lumix. So this might just be a problem that's unique to me, and maybe it is something that would happen to you as well, but I'm sure that it'll be fixed in firmware. Not on the Lumix side, but on the Samyang side of the lens. But just know for video, I had no problems at all. Overall, I'm very pleased with this lens, and I think it's a great addition to the options that are available to us L-mount users, as long as you're okay with the size and the price. It is a beast, and it's a little more pricey at $1,400 at the time of making this video, but it's awesome. And I'll definitely be using it quite a bit, especially if I'm needing a basically one and done lens where I need a bit more light or just want a shallower depth of field, unlike the 28-200 f4 to 7.1. Let me grab that lens. There it is. There's a size comparison. This lens does telescope, you know, similar to the Samyang, but yeah, this is a honkin' lens compared to this little 28-200, but variable f-stop, f2, I mean, technically variable as well, but f2 to 2.8, whereas this is f4 to 7.1. You know, I love this little lens, but sometimes your boy wants something for that low light, you know, you feel? If you have more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you want to order or take a look at the lens, I'll have links in the description. Like I mentioned, those are affiliate links, so please use them if you want to support me, and thank you for using them if you do. You can always support me though just by hitting the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified of future uploads. Till the next video though, happy filming.